ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya nchi yetu na wale ambao haja zao umezikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amen. Clerk, do we have quorum? Sergeant at Arms, kindly ring the quorum bell for 10 minutes.
The prayer has been said and the chair taken, but from the look inside the chamber, clearly there are no enough members. For the House to be deemed to have quorated, at least 15 senators should be inside the chamber, but the Speaker has directed the quorum bell to be rung. That means that the quorum is not present yet, and that means that there is a hitch at the commencement of the sitting of the Senate. The time allocated for the sitting is 9:30, and the Speaker's procession should have signaled that the House commences, or the sitting commences, but due to that quorum hitch, that might delay until that quorum is raised. So what you should be expecting to see now is more members to be able to make their way inside the chamber, join their colleagues, and enable the House raise that much needed quorum, of course, for the business to be able to take place. Remember, if that quorum is not present at the lapse of the first round of the 10-minute quorum bell, a further 10-minute quorum bell will be on. But if at the lapse of the second round the quorum will not have been raised yet, then that means that the House risks being adjourned until the next sitting. And you understand that this morning cabinet secretaries have been invited to appear before the House. So we believe that the senators will avail themselves because cabinet secretaries have confirmed their attendance or appearance before the House to respond to those concerns that were forwarded to their ministries, of course, prior to their appearance this morning, to be able to expound on the concerns that the members have raised regarding matters that may touch counties, inter-county, national, regional, or even international. This morning, the Cabinet Secretary for Gender, Culture and Children Services, Hannah Wendot Cheptumo, is among the Cabinet Secretaries that are expected to appear before the Senate chambers to respond to various concerns. The Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, Human Capital Development and Special Programs, Geoffrey Ruku, is also expected to appear before the Senate this morning. The question that he will be responding to is a question by the nominated senator who has just walked in. Senator Karen Nyamu has a few questions for the Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, Human Capital Development and Special Programs. These questions revolve around matters government's plan to commercialize the National Youth Service, that is NYS. And the Senator will want the Cabinet Secretary to provide those details and also to explain how the initiative promotes sustainable employment, how the initiative will promote sustainable employment and long-term skills development for the youth, particularly in marginalized and underserved areas, and also measures that the government has taken or put in place to guarantee transparency and accountability in the commercialization process, as well as whether the Cabinet Secretary could clarify how the findings of investigations into previous instances of financial impropriety at the National Youth Service have informed the current safeguards. That is a question that the CS for Public Service, Human Capital Development and Special Program will be answering this morning, or giving a comprehensive answer to as he appears this morning. The question will be asked by the nominated Senator, Honorable Karen Nyamu. If you're just joining us, is that the House about to commence its sitting? The prayer has already been said and the chair taken. As you can see, the Speaker is already at his seat, just waiting for members to walk in, make their way inside, join the rest of the colleagues. A quorum which is currently being fixed, and that is why the sitting cannot commence yet. But once that quorum is raised, at least 15 senators will fit to have the House commence its sitting. The quorum bell is set to ring for 10 minutes, and this is to alert senators who may be within the precincts of Parliament and perhaps running late to be able to hasten their steps and join their colleagues inside the chamber. That is the Deputy Speaker of the Senate, Honorable Kathuri Murungi, has also walked in. The whip from the minority side, who is also the Senator for Nairobi County, Honorable Edwin Sifuna. I have just seen him counting the numbers of the members inside the chamber to see whether the number has been attained yet, or perhaps he might be needed to go out of the chamber and whip more members to make their way inside the chambers and allow the House raise that quorum, and also for it to be able to commence the business that is lined up for consideration this morning. Being a Wednesday morning, Cabinet Secretaries will be appearing before the Senate to respond to concerns that normally are forwarded to their ministries prior the day that they will be appearing before the Senate. Right at the front, you can see the stand and seats that the Cabinet Secretaries, once they walk in, they will be able to take a stand and respond to these concerns. And remember, these questions are the primary questions. As the session continues, members of the Senate will have an opportunity to ask supplementary questions, of course, that those that have to be related to the primary question as asked by the senators. So the Cabinet Secretary for Gender, Culture and Children's Services, as well as the Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, Human Capital Development and Special Programs, have confirmed their availability this morning to appear before the Senate. And of course, once that quorum is raised and the business or the sitting commences, these members or these Cabinet Secretaries will be ushered in. The Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury and Economic Planning has also been invited this morning, or was also invited to appear before the Senate this morning. The Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury and Economic Planning, John Mbadi. And when the Cabinet Secretary shows up, he will be responding to a question from the Senator for Kisumu County, Professor Tom Ojienda. This question revolves around matters Kenya's current stock of domestic and external debt. The Cabinet Secretary will be required to provide information regarding this and also disclose the debt to GDP, that is the gross domestic product ratio. Also, if there are any measures that are in place to ensure the funds raised through borrowing are utilized effectively and translate into tangible development outcomes across the country. The CS will also, in line with that question, give answers to whether the National Treasury could consider developing a publicly accessible tracker that links each debt facility to its corresponding development outcomes. The House is about to commence its sitting. There is a quorum hitch owing to less number of members inside the chamber. As provided for in the House Standing Order number 39, at least 15 senators should be present at the time the prayer is said and the chair taken. Standing Order number 40 indicates that if that quorum is not present, then that would mean that the House has not quorated. And just to give some room to the members who could be running late to get to the chamber, a quorum bell is rung for 10 minutes. Currently, what is on is a 10-minute quorum bell. That is the first round. At the lapse of this 10-minute quorum bell, if the quorum will not have been raised yet, a further 10-minute quorum bell will be on for the members to be able to join their colleagues. But remember, the same standing order provides that if that quorum is not raised at the lapse of the second round of the quorum bell, then the House will be adjourned, actually. So that is the rules that guides the House. And this morning, it's a day that is set aside for cabinet secretaries. That bell has stopped. We should be expecting to hear from the Speaker to be able to understand whether the quorum has been raised for the House to commence. So that is the clerk engaging the Speaker on the matter quorum. Let's listen in.
Sergeant at kindly ring the quorum bell for further 10 minutes.
So the Speaker has directed that a further 10-minute quorum bell be rung. That means that the quorum has not been attained yet. However, at least more senators have walked in during the first quorum bell, the first round of the 10-minute quorum bell. So we believe now that just a few are remaining, perhaps 3 or 2. The whip from the minority side has just walked out. Of course, this is to whip members who may be just yet to make their way into the chamber to be able to hasten their steps. Remember, the commencement of the House or the sitting, the time allocated 9:30, it is now 16 minutes past that particular time or hour. So that is the situation at the Senate now. But we believe that the quorum will be raised. Just a few more members needed. And we believe that quorum will be raised and the business will commence to be able to engage the cabinet secretaries who have made their way to the Parliament buildings, specifically to the Senate, to be able to appear before or honor that particular invite that they received from the Senate, for them to provide comprehensive responses to the matters that the senators forwarded to their ministries. And once that quorum is raised, then without any further delay, we shall be handing this business back to the House for you to be able to follow on the proceedings of this day. The Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury and Economic Planning also was invited to appear before the Senate this morning. And of course, once the House has raised its quorum and the business commences or the sitting commences, the Speaker will update the House on whether the Cabinet Secretaries are yet at the Senate, whether they have confirmed the availability, and whether they are at the Senate, or if there are any that cancelled their that particular confirmation of them being available, whether they cancelled or whether they excused themselves from this particular business this morning. But the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury and Economic Planning is expected to appear and respond to question also from this is a second question from the Senator for Kisumu County, Professor Tom Ojenda. This second question revolves around the suspension of SACCO registrations across the country. The CS will be explaining the reasons, criteria, and legal basis for that particular suspension of the SACCO registrations across the country. Also, if there are any measures that the ministry has put in place to ensure that suspension does not adversely affect access to credit, savings, and financial inclusion. Where the quorum has been attained, allow me to hand you over.
Now. So we'll start the day's business. Clerk, you may proceed to call the first order.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers. Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
Now, honorable senators, will start with question number 090, a question by Honorable Senator Miraj Abdullahi, directed to the CS in charge of Gender, Culture, and Children's Services. Clerk, can you usher in the Honorable CS, please? Honorable CS, welcome to the Senate once again. You're before this House for purposes of responding to question number 090. I will now allow Honorable Senator Miraj Abdullahi to proceed and ask that question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Allow me to read my question number 90 and welcome Waziri. What action has the ministry taken to address the chronic underfunding of the Directorate of Children's Services, and could the Cabinet Secretary disclose the budget estimate for the Directorate in the 2025-2026 financial year, as well as the projected budgetary allocation for the Directorate in the medium term? B, what measures has the ministry put in place to ensure timely and full utilization of funds allocated for children's welfare and protection through the Directorate of Children's Services and the Victims Protection Fund? C, could the Cabinet Secretary also provide a breakdown of the number of children officers deployed to each of the 47 counties and specify the steps being taken to address the issues of officers being assigned to serve multiple counties simultaneously? Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honorable CS, you may now proceed to respond.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Honorable Speaker and Honorable members. Let me take this opportunity to thank you for giving us an opportunity to be before this Honorable House to be able to respond to the questions which have been put before us. And therefore, I'll proceed to answer the question as asked. The actions that the ministry has taken to address the chronic underfunding. In response to question number 1, the Ministry of Gender, Culture and Children's Services acknowledges the long-standing challenge of underfunding facing the State Department for Children's Services, formerly the Directorate of Children's Services, which has historically limited the State Department for Children's Services' ability to discharge its mandate of promoting and safeguarding the rights and welfare of children across Kenya. In light of this, the ministry, through the newly established State Department for Children's Services, has adopted a multi-pronged approach to advocate for increased budgetary allocations, ensuring that children protection financing is mainstreamed into national broader planning and resource mobilization frameworks. The key actions taken are as outlined before. High-level budget advocacy and engagement. In May 2025, the ministry held consultations with the Departmental Committee on Social Protection of the National Assembly to make a case for increased investment in children's services. A formal request was submitted seeking an additional 10 billion above what was earmarked for the financial year 2025-2026, and the justification is emphasized as below. The urgent need to scale up children protection service delivery in response to rising cases of abuse, neglect, and exploitation. The financial requirements for recruitment and deployment of additional children officers, the operationalization of new sub-county offices and mobile outreach services, and strengthening data management through the Child Protection Information Management System, known as CPIMS. The second action is integration of children services priorities in national planning frameworks. The ministry has ensured that the strategic priorities of the State Department for Children's Services are well integrated within the medium-term expenditure framework and are aligned to key national development blueprints, including Kenya Vision 2030 and its social pillar, the fourth-term plan MT4 2023-2027, the bottom-up transformation agenda, particularly its focus on social protection, inclusion, and human capital development. These alignments aim at making children protection a national priority, thereby increasing the visibility and competitiveness of the funding proposals of the State Department for Children's Services during the national budget process. C, administrative restructuring for greater budget visibility. Following the recent restructuring, the State Department for Children's Services was separated from the State Department for Social Protection and Senior Citizen Affairs. These have significantly enhanced the visibility of the State Department for Children's Services, thereby revealing the deep need for greater budgetary allocation within the national fiscal framework to enable more targeted planning and resource allocation for child protection functions. The second action is budget estimate for 2025-2026. As per the ministry's recent submissions to the National Treasury in May 2025, the total budget estimate for the newly established State Department for Children's Services for the year 2025-2026 is Kenya shillings 12.318 billion. This is broken down as follows. The recurrent expenditure is 12.074 billion, and the development expenditure is 244 million. See the below for the detailed line items under the recurrent vote. I am sure that you already have that. So on the economic classification, compensation to employees is 1,167,867,643. Use of goods and services is 610,885,301. Current transfer to government agencies is 10,249,698,000. Non-financial assets is 45,625,350, making that total of 12,074,076,294. Then we have cash transfers to orphans, what we call OVC. This is orphans and vulnerable children, which is 9,130,736. The State Department is currently supporting 445 children, 516 households, 516 households as per the October 2025 payroll. So that is money that we receive and then we send directly to these families. So the total recurrent budget exclusive of personnel emoluments, that is PE, we have rehabilitation schools. The budget is 127,448,388. Then children's remand homes, 98,383,588. National Council for Children's Services is 81,117,000. Sub-county children's services is 44,192,375. Then we have children's services. We have the headquarters. 34,355,784. Headquarters emergency relief and refugee assistance is 330 million. Alternative family care services is 3,882,225. Child Welfare Society of Kenya 600,045,000. Counter trafficking in persons is 2,016,475, and presidential bursary is 100 million. The National Assistance Trust Fund, victims of counter trafficking, we have 13,500,000. Kenya National Children Assembly is 6.3 million. Kenya Child Helpline 116 is that is an helpline that is open to all children, is 8 million. Children services at regional offices, 5,603,263. Cash transfers, which I already mentioned earlier, to is 9,130,736. 9,130,736,000. Street Families Rehabilitation Trust Fund is 180 million. Headquarters Administrative Services is 106,445,113. AIDS Control Unit 3,225,938. Information Communication Technology 10,786,813. Personnel Administration Services is 3,225,938. Finance and Procurement Services 7,207,688. And Central Planning and Project Monitoring Unit is 6,627,337, making a total of 10,909,434,589 Kenya shillings. We now go to the development projects. I will be able to mention the project and the approved budget for the year 2025-2026. Renovation of Meru Children's Remand Home is 1.96, that is in million. Construction of a kitchen and dormitory at Dagoretti Children Rehabilitation School, 15 million. Fencing of vocational rehabilitation centers and remand homes, 25 million. Renovation of Likoni Children Rehabilitation School, 10 million. Renovation of Nakuru Children's Remand Home, 11 million. Fencing of Ketathuru National Reception and Classification Center, 4.42. Renovation of Nyeri Children's Remand Home, 10,000,054. Renovation of Manga Children's Remand Home, 3.68 million. Othaya Children's Rescue Center, 6,720,000. Renovation of Muranga Children's Remand Home, 7.88 million. Kericho Children's Rehabilitation School and Remand Home, 6.44. Fencing at the Othaya Children's Rehabilitation School in Nyeri is 6,630,000. Fencing of Kakamega Children's Remand Home, 4.71 million. Kakamega Children's Rehabilitation School, 9.6 million. Renovation of Mount Elgon Sub-County Children's Office, 1.59 million. Construction of Ijara Sub-County Children's Home, 2.6 million. Renovation of Muranga Social Development Office, 10,000,023. And replacement of asbestos roofing and renovation of statutory children's one is 100 million. Then the medium-term budget projection for 2026, 2027, 2028, 2029. The Ministry is working closely with the National Treasury to ensure a progressive increase in child protection funding over the medium term. The projected budget requirement for the State Department for Children's Services is given in the table below. That is the budget requirement for children's services in 3 outer financial years. Financial year 2026-2027 projected budget allocation is 12 billion 56 million. 2027-2028 is 13.73 billion. 2028-2029 is 15.10 billion. That is progressive. It increases as the years go by. That is between 2026 to 2029. I will now proceed to answer question number 2. And the question was, what measures has the Ministry put in place to ensure timely and full utilization of funds allocated for children welfare and protection through the Directorate of Children's Services and the Victims Protection Fund? Response. The Ministry has implemented several operational and financial control measures. These are aligned with the best practices in Public Finance Management Act of 2012 to eliminate 2012 Public Procurement and Disposal Act of 2005 and its regulations of 2020 and aim to eliminate delays and inefficiencies. The Ministry has undertaken the following. 1. Timely approval of work plan, procurement plan, cash flow plan in financial year 2025-2026. Timely request of exchequer from the National Treasury. Timely approval of the planned departmental activities by the accounting officer and the AIE holders. Delays in approvals are tracked and reported to the Principal Secretary for action. Timely requisition of payments by sections and departments. And the Ministry has consulted State Department for Public Work engineers and quantity surveyors for support to SDCs in preparing accurate and timely bill of quantities for its capital projects. Accounting officer has delegated authority to incur expenditure to heads of departments. AIE holders are empowered to approve payments within their limits, thus reducing bottlenecks. The Victim Protection Fund in Kenya aims to assist and support victims of crime and abuse of power. Established by the Victims Protection Act of 2014, the fund provides resources for victims, including legal and social services, and financial assistance for expenses related to their well-being. The Office of the Attorney General and the Department of Justice coordinates the function. The Ministry of Gender, Culture, and Children's Services also have responsibility over children's victims who are the most vulnerable and should be accorded priority treatment according to the Children's Act, Cap 141. The third question, which was, could the Cabinet Secretary also provide a breakdown of the number of children officers deployed to each of the 47 counties and specify the steps being taken to address the issue of officers being assigned to serve multiple counties simultaneously? Response. The breakdown of the number of children officers deployed to each of the 47 counties. As of June 2025, the number of children officers deployed nationwide to all 290 constituencies and to the 8 regions, 47 counties, and 353 operational sub-county offices was 714. This is shown in the table below. This is the list of all the counties. So in Baringo, the number of officers that are there are 20.
Honorable CS, you don't have to.
I don't have to read.
Yeah, because that document has been circulated. So just paraphrase it and conclude.
Yes, so I am guided, thank you, Mr. Speaker. So the total number of officers in the 47 counties, looking at the grand total is 714, and shows the variance. you'll find some other counties have more, others have less, and also because of the geographical distribution, that is something that I will address in the next few minutes as I give the analogy. So the ministry acknowledges that it acknowledges the critical role that children officers play in safeguarding the rights and welfare of Kenya's children. In recognition of the urgent need to safeguard and strengthen the child protection workforce, the Ministry of Gender, Culture and Children's Services, through the State Department for Social Protection and Senior Citizens Affairs, with support from UNICEF, commissioned a national workforce mapping report, official, which was launched in April 2025. This comprehensive exercise, initiated in 2023, analyzed the staffing status, deployment patterns, caseload, and operational gaps across the country, and the key findings from the report are summarized below. One is high child protection burden. From 2019, Violence Against Children survey, it was revealed that over 50% of children in Kenya experience violence before the age of 18, underscoring the magnitude of demand for child protection services. Then there is a severe staffing deficit. From the list that I gave earlier, which I read, currently we have 714 officers that are serving an estimated 18 million children nationwide. This translates to only 2.7 officers per 100,000 children, a ratio that falls significantly below both national needs and regional benchmarks. Operational and logistical challenges. The effectiveness of the officers on the ground is further hindered by inadequate induction and continuous training, unmanageable caseloads per officer, logistical limitations such as lack of transport and equipment, and uneven deployment, with some officers assigned to cover multiple counties, compromising service delivery. County-level deployment status. From the county-by-county breakdown of the deployment of children officers above, it is noted that the average number of officers per county is 15. Officers are present in 353 out of 407 sub-counties. Some sub-counties with high child populations are fewer than 5 officers. In at least 12 counties, children officers are responsible for more than one sub-county, leading to overstretched and burnout. Several sparsely populated counties are managed by a single officer, and in remote or sparsely populated counties, e.g. Mandera, Turkana, Samburu, and Lamu, some officers are covering multiple sub-counties due to workforce shortages. So the ongoing and planned interventions. So to address these workforce disparities, the ministry has initiated a series of immediate and long-term reforms as outlined below. Short-term to medium-term interventions. Recruitment proposal for the year 2025-2026. A proposal to recruit 500 additional children officers has been submitted to the Public Service Commission with the aim of reducing the burden on existing officers and eliminating multi-county, sub-county coverage by single officers. Targeted and equitable deployment, guided by the ministry's strategic plan and operational data. Staff rationalization will be prioritized in underserved counties and ensure station-based postings rather than regional assignments. Structured induction and training. We shall conduct comprehensive induction for recently recruited officers and continuous professional development for other officers to enhance the quality of child protection interventions at the grassroots. Digital workload management via CPIMS. The ministry is scaling up the Child Protection Information Management System to enable centralized workload tracking, remote case supervision, real-time workload balancing, and evidence-based deployment decisions. Those were now the short-term, medium-term interventions, and we now go to long-term and structural reforms. Strengthening the social service workforce. The ministry is taking steps to professionalize and stabilize the social service workforce, including liaison with other stakeholders to professionalize the social workforce, to regulate and accredit social service practitioners. Currently, the private members' bill that was in the National Assembly titled the Institute of Social Work Professionals Bills 2025, number 17, which was to establish a council. The bill was passed by National Assembly on 9th October 2025. Proposal to formally integrate child protection volunteers into the workforce through stipends, structured training and supervision, and restructure it to reflect the structure of community health promoters who are very effective on the ground. Gradual shift from reactive casework to preventive and community-based services. Workforce planning using MIDSS. The ministry has developed and operationalized a multivariable index of demand for social services. This tool ensures equitable staff allocation by considering geographic remoteness, socioeconomic indicators, incidence of child rights violations, and existing caseloads per sub-county. 8-year expansion plan. To meet Kenya's long-term child protection needs, the ministry has adopted a phased staffing plan covering all 407 sub-counties. Year 1 to 3 is to fill existing 691 vacancies in the approved staff establishment. 2, recruit essential administrative and support staff. And 3, to operationalize 283 sub-county child protection offices. Year 4 to 8 is to scale up to full coverage in 407 sub-counties and to recruit an estimated 7,126 children officers and 1,432 support staff. Projected investment and impact. These projected expansions will require an ambitious cost, but will reap fast benefits that need our consideration. These are given in the table below. I don't know whether I should read this one because it is very small. The parameters are, the total annual cost is 5 billion, 3.9. The share of national budget is 0.15%. Increase in workforce size is 6.8%, 648%, the increase that will come when we employ more people. Increase in case handling capacity is 428%. That is up to 1 million cases per year. And then finally, it will bring a reduction in GDP loss from violence against children. So once we deal with that issue, the violence against children will reduce from 4.8% to 2.33%. I submit.
Senator Miraj, you may ask supplementary question if you have any. Yes, Senator.
Mr. Speaker, allow me to ask the last person after my fellow members.
Okay. Senator Chute.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Welcome to the Senate again, Madam. Madam, as you are aware, Marsabit County and Turkana County are the largest counties in this republic. And I'm surprised to see in your response, you have officers in Marsabit County only 9, in Turkana County 11, and in Kajiado County, you have 28. So my question is, have you ever visited those counties? When are you going to visit? What is the justification? The most largest, biggest county, larger, also very difficult to reach some places, having only 9 officers. And county of Samburu having Kajiado having 28 officers. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Kinyua.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Karibu Waziri. My question is, I would want to know, you have indicated that you had a formal request of an increment of 10 billion for the purpose of increasing the number of your officers, as well as scale up children protection. But having requested that, what I'm seeing is that you have a budget of 11 billion. Then the projected budget for the years to come is 13 billion and 15 billion. Does it mean then that what you had, the question that Chute is asking about more officers are not going to be recruited, because the amount that you are asked it for were not given, and in your projection, you're not even showing anywhere that you have captured the 10 billion you have indicated. And what's even shocking me, Mr. Speaker, is that in the budget I am seeing 100 million is provided for presidential bursary, vis-a-vis the development, which I'm seeing is only given 244 million. Seriously, Mr. Speaker, it's the same thing that you're getting even, I'm saying this because I sit in the Committee of Education. It's the same thing I see even in our counties. They are using money to give bursaries that are not supposed to be given to the bursaries. So my question is, if it's a presidential bursary, is it not supposed to be anchored in the State House budget? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator for Meru County, Senator Kathore.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity to ask a supplementary question. But before I do that, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you because I know the ministry, you know there's a time we approved my travel to the UK to go and seek for, attend a meeting. They're trying to seek funds to connect children in the institutions back to families, Mr. Speaker. So I want to thank you first and foremost for that. And then my question is this, Madam CS, whether you are aware that Meru is leading in teen pregnancies. And my statistics is like almost, we have 4,000 children who have left school this year because of teen pregnancies. Last week during the, I think grade 6 and 9, 17 girls did the exams in Nyambene Hospital in Maua, while in the maternity ward. So that is the statistics, Mr. Speaker, for only 1 week. So it shows every week there are almost 20 children who are in the maternities in Meru. So, Madam CS, what are you doing as the ministry in charge of children, at least to ensure that we reduce or we stop completely those teen pregnancies? If I check on this list, the officers in Meru are only 12, Mr. Speaker. Meru has 9 constituencies and 15 sub-counties. So it means there are some counties with no children or child officer or children officers, Mr. Speaker. So what is your ministry doing? And if we come to your proposal, short to medium-term interventions, you are saying you have a proposal to recruit 500 additional children officers this financial year. Have you been okayed, or do you have that budget to recruit 500 additional children officers, or this is just a proposal that you have given the Public Service Commission? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Essie Okenyere.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to find from the Cabinet Secretary, because my observation is previous attempts to rehabilitate or reintegrate street families into homes has failed because we do not have a report on the same. So my question to the Cabinet Secretary is, what measures does your ministry have to actually get street children out of those streets so that they are reintegrated back to society? Because allegations are we have cartels who are using those children as beggars and using them to make money. So Cabinet Secretary, I wish you shed more light on that, because my observation as stated is that that has failed previously, because we do not have data from your ministry indicating street children who have been reintegrated or rehabilitated. Thank you.
Senator Eddy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I'm glad to see the CS here. She got back to work and she has been doing a lot that she could do within the time that she's come in. But my question is, what are the targeted programs that you have for kids who are faced with high-level conflicts? Because when conflicts come in some areas like where I come from, specifically in Kuria, right now there's a serious conflict in Kuria, Kuria East, a place called Timaru Guitembe, where mothers have not been able to farm for the last 2 years. They can't farm, they can't get food, and yet they have children in that conflict that is going on between Kipsigis communities and people in Narok and Kuria side in Guitembe. And the children there cannot go to school, delayed schooling is going on there, and a lot more problems in terms of feeding. What is the targeted program for this kind of people that you have, particularly for Migori? And on the rider to that is also the people who have been affected by floody areas, those tragedies of nature, where kids are then affected that they cannot go to school. This is happening in places like Kabuto, in Nyatike constituency where I come from in Migori. What are these targeted programs that you have for them, and is there a budget for them that can be able to help the people of Kuria and the people of Nyatike to get some support for their children to go to school and to feed? I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Mwenda Gataya.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for that opportunity. I would wish to get this clarification from the CS. Madam CS, you know, most men who are survivors of gender-based violence are normally dedicated. And because of our masculinity, many cases go unreported. You know, they just go in silent, they are never attended to. So what is it that the ministry is doing to make sure that men who are subjected to gender-based violence are also taken care of? So that maybe
Senator Gataya, that has no bearing to the question that has been asked.
It's a societal issue.
We are discussing children and matters related to children. That is the primary question.
We have children who are also being...
I rule that your question is not a supplementary question. If you have another one, you may proceed to ask. If you don't, kindly...
Thank you, Speaker, for your guidance.
Senator Mbugua.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Madam CS, there were reports from some government quarters that your ministry intended to abolish the children homes for home care-based model. I would like you to tell this House what is the current status, and also tell this House how many cases of child abuse have been reported in the children homes. Thank you.
Senator Wakili Hillary.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I would like to appreciate the Honorable CS for the responses that she's provided to this House. My supplementary question, Mr. Speaker, is regards to the cash transfers to orphans, vulnerable children, amounting to 9.1 billion, which from the report you've been given supports 445,516 households. Could the Honorable CS be able to have statistics on how this has been distributed across the country or across the counties, the 47 counties, together with statistics on the distribution, if any, of children officers deployed to the 47 counties? I ask this, Mr. Speaker, because I note in Bomet County, which is one of the 5 counties where we have a lot of vulnerable children, as per the statistics of 2024-2025, they have got only 16 children officers compared to Kajiado, Nairobi, and Homa Bay, which they fall into the same category. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable CS, you may now proceed to respond.
Thank you very much for the supplementary questions. Let me begin with the answer to Senator Chute. I think that was the first question. You asked the question, Turkana, which have 9 officers, 11, and Kajiado 25, respectively. We have visited these counties, and when I say we, it is we as a ministry. We have visited, and we note that truly there is a very big gap, and we are redistributing them after the training. We have officers who are undergoing training, and we shall distribute them according to the need assessment. You will agree with me that from the answers that I gave earlier, that there is a very big gap of officers. We have a shortage of officers. And once we have officers, we shall distribute according to the population of the children and also according to the geographical distribution, because every child deserves to be taken care of. And we also want to say at this particular time that it is important that this State Department for Children's Services has now been given that position, because earlier on it was just a directorate, and therefore it was not receiving the necessary funds and the feasibility. But now that we have a whole State Department, we are now looking at very critically on the needs assessment as per the county and as per the population of the children. I will also go to the question about the budget projections. We have, let me first of all go with the issue of the teenage pregnancies. The senator from Meru has asked about the leading, that Meru is one of the counties that are leading in teenage pregnancies, and that 4,000 of them have left school. We have an adolescent program under the niche, supported by Government of Kenya and World Bank and other partners. We still need more funds because this is a societal problem, and we must be able to all address this particular problem, and we want to all applaud to the House also and all Kenyans to be able to take care of our children. These challenges of teenage pregnancies can be addressed at a very early age when the children are well educated and they are informed about what is happening in the biological processes. And therefore, it will not be left only to the State Department for Children's Services, but all Kenyans. Let us all reach out to our children, especially when they are on holidays, to be able to take care of them, to ensure that they don't fall into this issue of teenage pregnancy. So, as the State Department for Children's Services, we'll do our part, especially when we get the budget support, but we want to call upon all Kenyans to ensure that we take care of, we teach our children on what is happening, because some of them are innocent. About the street families rehabilitation integration, we have, these children are not only Kenyans, they're also foreigners. So we are also reaching out to, through the East African integration, reaching out to the other member states to ensure that all these children are taken back, reintegrated back to their family homes. Because a census has been done, and the report is almost out, but already the preliminary reports that we are getting is that most of the families are not Kenyans only. We have Kenyan families and we have foreigners. So all these people must be informed where they have come from and be reintegrated back to their communities. Senator Mugo asked about the issue of abolishing the children homes. It is an ongoing program because the policy of the government is to reintegrate the children back to their societies. Because children grow up better when they are in families. And we even asked a question, what happened to the children when there was corona? And we were told that most of them were in their homes. So the truth is, some of these children, they belong to their homes. And therefore, part of the findings that will come out, or the statistics that we shall get after the census, we'll be able to know who can actually be reintegrated back, so that people can grow well in their families where there is a father and a mother, or at least a relatives, even if there are children who do not have a father and a mother by virtue of death, they will be reintegrated back to the society where there are elders who can be able to guide them, and that will even avoid these problems of teenage pregnancies and the rest, because there will be guidance from that level. About the budget requests, we have a budget request of 5 billion which was made, but was not allocated by the National Treasury. So budget for recruitment on the current financial year is not available, but the staff establishment has been forwarded to the Public Service Commission for approval. I will again repeat the same thing, that it is because initially it was just a directorate, but now that it is a whole State Department, we are able to negotiate for budget support for this particular State Department to be able to address the needs of the children. The targeted programs of the children who are in conflict with the law. So through emergencies budget, which is 330 million, we are addressing FGM, sensitizing communities. We are giving what is called psychosocial support for families and the children who are affected. The GBV is one of the issues that is affecting children even as they grow up. So there is a presidential task force which was established to be able to understand what are the causes of gender-based violence and femicide. And the task force has already finished their report, which is going to be released very soon, and it will inform also part of our decision-making and how we run our programs. We have 44,000 children that are currently in institutions, and we have a strategy through the National Care Reform. In the year 2022 to 2032, we intend to transition children from these homes. We intend to transition all of them to their families. And it is not going to be done quickly, because we cannot again send children to places that have not been properly looked at. So we also have to take care of them. So we ensure that we do the transition progressively, as we also monitor how these children are adjusting back, so that we don't have a backlash of releasing the children back to their families, and then they get issues of violence and mistreatment that comes with people that have never lived with children for a long time. So I've attempted to answer some of the questions. In case there is any that I have not answered, I'll be willing again to come back. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable CS Senator Kanyuri. You're out of order. Kindly hold your horses. Thank you so much, Honorable CS. The Honorable CS has said that he's willing to engage further. So you, Senator Miraj, you are to be the last to ask your 2 supplementary questions. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Madam CS, there is a release on data by the National AIDS Control Council on the triple effect that at least 660 girls were defiled and are pregnant, summing up to 240,000 girls in the year 2024 who are defiled and are pregnant. I don't know what are the measures. I was listening through your answers to glance on something that you are doing as a ministry to curb this situation. Given that there is a young girl from Meru County, 26 years old, who is already a grandmother. So this shows that it is a vicious cycle that our children are going through. Secondly, I'm asking about the operationalization of the Victims Fund. Given that a report indicates that the money that are released to that fund by the Exchequer usually goes back to the account because you don't have a policy. There is no single child victim that has received any funding from this fund. What are the measures that you are taking as a ministry to make sure that this fund is fully operationalized, given that the board sits, withdraws per diems from that fund, but yet the core function of the fund is not working? Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Now, Honorable CS, as you respond to the questions by Senator Miraj, kindly address the question asked by Senator Essi or Kenyuri. Proceed, Honorable CS.
Thank you, Senator. The response to the issue of teenage pregnancies, which is actually very alarming and very worrying. We must admit that. And as even asked by the senator from Meru, Meru is leading in teenage pregnancies. The ministry has a plan on adolescents through the World Bank funding. Currently, we are awaiting disbursements of funds to implement, because it is a standalone, it is a problem that you are seeing in Meru, but there are so many unreported cases of these adolescents. And you can imagine a child who is a mother. So a child and a child mother and a child. So these are issues that seriously we are looking at them, and I have given this answer, but we are engaging very, very rigorously to ensure that we even approach it, and we use what is called an all-of-government approach. We are dealing with the Ministry of Education, religious organization, the Ministry of Interior through the Ngao, to be able to speak and educate these children and address this particular issue, so that we do not only wait until we have statistics. Like now during the holidays, the children should be sensitized on this, because again, when we come to with all the festivities and this kind of parties in the evening, you know, children are free. We are calling upon, let me even use this opportunity to call upon all parents and guardians. Tafadhali, please help us to keep the children safe. Please don't send children to places that you do not know where they are, because come the new year, we'll now be having maybe double the number. So I'm sending a clarion call to all parents to please take care of our children. Tell the girls what it means to be out in the dark with a boy where you are not sure what is going to happen next. It's simple things that we have to tell them. Tell them in the morning, tell them in the evening, tell them in church, tell them in school, tell them everywhere. We all have a duty. The second question was, just allow me, let me get it.
There's a question on street families that was asked by Senator Essi.
Thank you. Street families, you are aware that we have Street Families Rehabilitation Trust Fund, which has carried out a study, conducted a study on street families. The report will be launched by December 2025, and which will help us to get interventions on what is to be undertaken. Because street families, you know, nobody belongs to the street. These are families who are living in the streets, and there are no street children. These are children living in the street. Nobody belongs to the street. And therefore, when we get this report, which is supposed to be launched by December 2025, it will first of all inform us how many children or how many families are in Nairobi, how many families are in Nakuru, how many families are in whichever town, and be able to follow up and say, where did they come from? Who are the leaders from that particular ground? What made those children or those families to leave where they belonged and come back to the street? Is it because of violence? Is it because of poverty? We also have issues where we are told that some of the children who are borrowing in the street are being encouraged by the money that people give. So we'll also be able to educate the masses and say, instead of giving money to the children on the streets, you can give them to a particular fund so that it can be used to reintegrate them back to their families. But this can only be done and be informed after we get the audit report, the census report of the number of families who are living in the streets and from where. Thank you very much.
Now, honorable senators, we have spent 1 hour on this question. That should be adequate. We will now move to the next. Honorable CS, thank you so much for coming before the Senate, and thank you for your responses. We'll now move to question number 114 by Senator Karen Nyamu. Welcome, Honorable CS, to the Senate. You're before the Senate for purposes of responding to question number 114 by Honorable Senator Karen Nyamu. Honorable Senator, you may now proceed to ask your question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'll go ahead and ask the Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, Human Capital, Development and Special Programs, and Karibu Waziri to the Senate. Could the Cabinet Secretary provide details on the government's plan to commercialize the National Youth Service, NYS? Secondly, how will the initiative promote sustainable employment and long-term skills development for the youth, particularly in marginalized and underserved areas? And finally, what measures has the government put in place to guarantee transparency and accountability in the commercialization process? And could the Cabinet Secretary clarify how the findings of investigations into previous instances of financial impropriety at NYS have informed the current safeguards? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable CS, you may now proceed to respond.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and to all senators, good morning. Honorable Speaker, I take this opportunity to thank you and the honorable members for the request for a response to the questions from Honorable Senator Karen Nyamu regarding government's plan to commercialize the National Youth Service. Allow me to respond as follows. The first question, maybe I can repeat the question, that could the Cabinet Secretary provide the details on government plan to commercialize the National Youth Service. Honorable Speaker, the National Youth Service Act 2018, Section 5.1, establishes National Youth Service as a uniformed and disciplined service and a corporate body. The National Youth Service Act 2018, Section 7.1d, mandates the service to undertake such enterprise and commercial activities for the furtherance of its mandate, which is to train and empower youth through paramilitary, vocational, and personal development programs, while also engaging in commercial and national services activities. Honorable Speaker, the government's National Youth Commercialization Agenda was informed by, 1, presidential directives and policy guidance, 2, the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, the fourth-term, medium-term plan, and also Kenya Vision 2030. Number 3, it was informed by the need to address youth unemployment and vulnerability through structured training and enterprise engagement. And number 4, it was informed by the need to commercialize service resources, including personnel, machinery, equipment, land, and projects to increase the revenue generation. Honorable Speaker, the commercial and enterprise development of a National Youth Service is aimed to transform the existing production unit into competitive business ventures contributing to service sustainability. Mr. Speaker, at the moment, the National Treasury finances, or we get money from Exchequer every single month. And as you know, the budget of our nation is quite tight as it is at the moment. And therefore, the services which are offered by National Youth Service can be commercialized for the purpose of having sustainability and for the purpose of increasing the intake of National Youth Service every single year. At the moment, Mr. Speaker, we have 18,000 unsurrounded recruits who graduated from training, paramilitary training, this year, and it's the effort of the government to increase from 18,000 to 40,000 come January this year. For that to, January next year. For that to happen, Mr. Speaker, a lot of resources are required. And therefore, it is the effort of the government through presidential directive for the government to think probably not out of the box, but without the box, so that we can have and raise resources to mop up all our young men in different constituencies and counties across the country, so that they can gain skills and can be trained in paramilitary training. Mr. Speaker, the service is in the process of establishing the National Youth Service Enterprises and the services company to act as a commercial arm of the National Youth Service commercialization agenda. The process of approval of the regulations and registration of the company is ongoing. At the moment, the registration of that company, of this company, is at the Attorney General's office. The company will implement business plans on mechanization, construction, agriculture, agro-processing, textile and garment production, hospitality, as well as security services, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you know the government is implementing affordable housing program, and there's huge construction which is going on across different counties in the Republic of Kenya. All these work which are going on at the moment, National Youth Service can take advantage of the affordable housing program and earn some money which can go a long way in ensuring we have many young Kenyans who are getting proper training in not only paramilitary training, but also in vocational and technical colleges we have across the country. Mr. Speaker, the company will implement business plans and mechanization, construction. Sorry, I have mentioned that. Mr. Speaker, the program will also take keen and work hand in partnership with the public and private stakeholders to ensure access to markets, technology transfer, and innovation, as well as the commercialization matrix will be developed to track performance, investments, and outcome across all National Youth Service enterprises. Mr. Speaker, allow me now to go to the second question. And the second question is, how will the initiative promote sustainable development and long-term skills development for the youth, particularly in marginalized and underserved areas? Mr. Speaker, I had an opportunity for the few months I've been a Cabinet Secretary to travel to different corners of this country. We have many areas, many counties which are marginalized, Mr. Speaker, and National Youth Service is taking this opportunity through this initiative to enhance employment, revenue generation, and sustainability of the service, so that the business plans which has been developed, taking care of different portfolios to ensure all these enterprises will cover multiple sectors that directly contribute to the youth empowerment and the national development. Mr. Speaker, the Kenyan youth are asking us every single day, where are the jobs? Any opportunity that the government of Kenya can have to initiate jobs creation, that is what we are doing, Mr. Speaker, through commercialization process, that the construction of affordable housing which is going on, the National Youth Service trained youth will take advantage of that. The repairs of vehicles, the National Youth Service trained youth will take advantage of that. That will go a long way in jobs creation. Through this enterprise, National Youth Service aims to generate sustainable employment for thousands of youth, particularly from the marginalized and underserved regions. Through this enterprise, Mr. Speaker, National Youth Service aims to provide hands-on technical experience, entrepreneurship training, internship opportunities, and accredited certifications aligned to the industry needs. Mr. Speaker, through this enterprise, National Youth Service also aims to support local industrialization and SME growth through regauges between training, production, and market access. It also aims to reinforce long-term skills development and self-reliance through a structured approach combining formal training, on-the-job on-job training, as well as enterprise incubation. Mr. Speaker, now allow me to go to the third question. And the question reads, what measures has the government put in place to guarantee transparency and accountability in commercialization process? And could the Cabinet Secretary clarify how the findings of investigations of previous instances of financial impropriety at National Youth Service have informed the current safeguards? Mr. Speaker, let me also start by saying that a few weeks in the office, some reports were raised by ESCC that we have ongoing investigation at National Youth Service, and ESCC informed my office that the 3 employees of National Youth Service who could be committing crime. I took actions immediately, Mr. Speaker, as the minister in charge, to ensure the 3 officers step aside until investigations are done, until their names are cleared. Those 3 officers are not in the offices at the moment, awaiting investigation to be completed by the ESCC, and we ensure, Mr. Speaker, that we are following the law as it is stipulated in different pieces of law. Mr. Speaker, National Youth Service is overseen by the National Youth Service Council, which report to the Principal Secretary for Public Service and Human Capital Development, but also as a CEO in charge of the ministry, I have direct mandate to oversee what is happening in the National Youth Service. In line with the government commitment, Mr. Speaker, to strengthen the governance and accountability mechanisms during the commercialization of National Youth Service, the National Treasury has developed the National Youth Service Enterprise and Services Limits and Regulations under the Companies Act General Regulations. These regulations are designed to provide the legal framework for the establishment of state-owned enterprise that will manage and oversee National Youth Service commercial venture in a structured and transparent manner. Mr. Speaker, the framework anticipates that the company will introduce stronger financial management systems, clear separation between trading and commercial functions, and enhanced accountability in enterprise operations. The National Youth Service Enterprise and Service Company will be managed by a independent body with representation from the Cabinet Secretaries of the National Treasury and the Ministry of Public Service and Human Capital Development and the National Youth Service. Mr. Speaker, the NOI's Enterprise and Services Company will also be oversighted by oversight bodies, including 1, the Office of the Auditor General, Public Procurement Regulatory Authority, Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, and Directorate of Criminal Investigation. Mr. Speaker, When the matters were raised by EACC, I also instructed the Public Procurement and Regulatory Authority, PPRA, to go to NOS and conduct an audit. And the report, they have submitted the report to my office, and we are working on that report. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, we are very keen not only to ensure the enterprise, which is soon to be registered by the Registrar of Companies, that it is managed in a proper way and there are no issues of impropriety, but also to ensure national youth service as it is today is in great health, is in good health. Mr. Speaker, also the bodies include parliamentary committee, such as Public Investment Committee, the Committee of Social Protection, and the Committee on Cohesion and National Integration, also provide parliamentary oversight. Mr. Speaker, on the previous investigations, the lesson learned from the previous investigation is that it has informed the development of stronger internal controls, which at the moment are helping us to run national youth service in a proper way. Transparency in procurement and reporting systems. Also, the service has strengthened internal audit and compliance functions, risk management structures, and enhanced cooperation with anti-corruption agencies to ensure preventive oversight. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for this opportunity to appear before you and the honorable members of the Senate. I submit. Thank you very much.
Who represent a significant population of the youth, of Nairobi. Of the country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Munyahaji Faki.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika, na pia asante waziri kwa maelezo uliotoa. Mheshimiwa Spika, nimesikia waziri akisema kwamba National Youth Service itakuwa ni chombo cha biashara na kampuni tayari inaandikishwa kwa kuta ofisi ya mkuu wa sheria. Mheshimiwa Spika, ikikumbuka hapo awali ni kuwa hiyo itakuwa sio mara ya kwanza kwa jeshi la vijana kuweza kufanya biashara. Nakumbuka miaka ya 80 na miaka 90 walikuwa wanafanya biashara ya transport, mabasi ya National Youth Service. Na baada ya muda mabasi yale yalisimama na serikali ikawa imepata hasara kubwa. Kwa hivyo sio mara ya kwanza kwamba ni jambo jipya lilifanyika. Na je, wizara imejifunza kutokana na makosa yale yaliyotokea? Pili, hivi sasa kuna mashirika kadhaa ya serikali ambayo yako njiani kuuzwa katika mikono ya binafsi. Vipi upande mmoja serikali inauza mashirika ambayo hayafanyi biashara, hayapati faida, na hata yale yanayopata faida kama Kenya Pipeline bado yanauzwa? Ni vipi sasa wizara inachukua shirika na kulipeleka katika mambo ya biashara ambazo biashara zile zinaweza kufanywa na watu binafsi? Asante Mheshimiwa Spika.
Senator Katuri.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. My concern, Honorable Speaker, and my supplementary question is based on the different programs that we have for the youth, spread across almost 8 ministries in this country. There is the Minister of Youth itself, there is now the Minister of Public Service and Human Development, there is the Minister of Trade and Investments, there is Minister of Cooperatives and SMEs and many other programs in other ministries, Mr. Speaker. So I'm asking the CS Public Service, my good friend, Mheshimiwa Ruku, since you are unable now to know where to go for programs, is it possible that now you are in the public service, you consolidate all youth programs into one item, one ministry, one shop, so that our youth in this country can directly go to one ministry and get all the services? Like now there are so many programs under the NYS, still there is the Minister of Youth itself. So do you think even though you are not the one who gives the directive, is the end of state, but at the cabinet level, do you think it is the right time that we consolidate all the youth programs and put them under one docket so that our youth don't get haphazardly programs which are run by all the ministries, Mr. Speaker, sir?
Senator Maruma.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity to ask my supplementary question. Bona CS, how much do we use as a government in terms of budget to train the youths and our National Youth Service? So much so that if we say we are commercializing, then there's adequate justification that would save that money. But also, when you do business through National Youth Service, then you're going to get adequate money to maybe finance the Kenyan budget. That would be my question. And I don't know whether there is enough justification to commercialize NYS apart from the presidential edict. Is there any other justification really? Because it didn't come out very clearly why you're commercializing National Youth Service, because we feel some of the regions, especially the underserved, would not be served very well under that program. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Veronica.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and welcome to Senate, CS Ruku. We're happy to have you. You were one of our own before you ascended to that office. Now, Honorable CS, if a youth came to Senate today, the first question they would ask you is, what opportunities do you have right now for the youths in the country, in different counties, where they can tap into a job or into an occupation? That's one of the questions they would ask, and they would want an answer that serves them. And also, is there a possibility that your ministry can decide that all the procurement being done within that Ministry of Youth can actually go to the youth, can actually favor the youth as a vulnerable group, as opposed to the rest of the people?
Senator Beatrice Akinyi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, NYS seems to have had cases of corruption-related issues in the past, some of them that have been very mind-boggling. From the statement made by the CS, there are also cases being investigated now. My question to the CS, as I welcome him to the Senate too, is that who are these that are being investigated currently? What is their designation? And for how long do you expect them to be out as investigation goes on? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Consolata Nabwire.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. I also take this opportunity to welcome CS Rugu and the team to the Senate. You have presented your responses, and one that got my eye was the NYS having a roadmap to mount a diverse portfolio of enterprises for different sectors. My concern is does NYS have any sustainable model to uphold these different sectors? Because seemingly all the enterprises that you are proposing are already in place, but we lack that sustainability model. And maybe you also shed light on the position of the people living with disabilities in regard to their infrastructure in NYS. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Mundigi Alexander.
Okay, asante Bwana Spika. Yangu ni kushukuru Waziri Ruku kwa sababu ametoka kwa chama yangu ya Democratic Party kwa kupata ile kiti ya waziri. Swali langu kwa waziri. Tunajua tumeona ukitembea na unataka kupandilisha hii ministry na unafanya kazi nzuri. Swali langu ni kuomba kama kuna uwezo wowote, kwa sababu wakati tumeenda nje kama Qatar ama Turkey unakuta security ulinzi ni mkali sana kwa vijana. Kuna uwezekano ukipandilisha ndio uweze kusaidia vijana wetu kwa sababu ya security, na saa nyingine watu wengine wako na private security. Kama kuna uwezekano wa vijana wakimaliza, kama unaweza pinga ile mambo sisi tunatafuta watu nje au vijana wawe ndio wanaweza kufanya ile kazi, ndio waweze kupata kazi, kwa sababu tumeona wengi wakienda kufanya kazi huko nje, wengine wana kazi, wanaumia, afuta hiyo muda unakuta hakuna kazi. Kama kuna njia unaweza kupandilisha ndio vijana wao wakienda kwa ministry, wakienda kwa private companies, ndio waweze kupata ile kazi na watafanya kazi nzuri, ndio uweze kuwasaidia. Asante Bwana Speaker.
Senator Hilary Sigei.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and thank you, Honorable CS. Welcome to the Senate. My supplementary question, Honorable CS, is as regards the proposal to commercialize the NYS. In your response, you have alluded to the provision in law, Section 7, to be specific, that mandates NYS to undertake commercial activities. What is the difference between the one you are seeking to register, which you've said registration process is ongoing and regulations are being prepared, with the one that the law has already established? Is there a need for duplication of agencies? And two, the last part of your question is that the law will now mandate the EACC to oversight NYS. Do you say that the current institution as is not a subject of oversight by NYS? Thank you. Sorry, the Anti-Corruption Commission, not NYS.
Senator Mbugua.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. CS, one of the biggest resources NYS has is the vast land which is spread across the country. In the spirit of the whole government approach, we also have the government land leasing program. Now, what is this? How will this commercialization of the land go, bearing in mind that there is that government leasing program, and we still have the PPP model? What form will it take, and how will you ensure that it benefits the people where the land is located? Thank you.
Senator Esi Okenyuri.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First, congratulations, CS Ruku, on that position. And secondly, Mr. Speaker, I would wish to know what the agency seeks to raise from, how much funds the agency seeks to raise from commercialization, and whether there are measures enough put in place to guard this money so that it doesn't go into people's pocket as witnessed in past NYS scandals. Thank you.
Honorable CS, you may now respond.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and thank you for the many questions. Mr. Speaker, first of all, let me make it clear that National Youth Service is not going to change from the way we know it at the moment. We are registering, National Youth Service is registering a company which is owned by National Youth Service 99%, and National Treasury 1%. Therefore, this new company will have its own CEO or managing director, its own managers, senior managers. It will have other employees. We have an organizational structure which have been submitted through all government levels, including the Public Service Commission, to ratify the organizational structure. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, we are not changing the leadership structure of National Youth Service. We are not changing the training which goes through the National Youth Service. The only thing we are doing is to take advantage of the training which goes through National Youth Service. National Youth Service train youth in different professions, in government, in mechanical, in agriculture, in construction. Once we do this training, the young Kenyans who graduate from National Youth Service, they end up, some of them, not getting jobs within our market. The others are lucky enough to get jobs within the market. Others, they are lucky to get jobs in military, in Kenya Police, and other places within the Kenyan market. For many who are not lucky to get opportunities, to get jobs, these are the ones now, the new company, which we are registering, will take advantage of to utilize their skills in construction, those who are trained in construction. Those who are trained in agriculture, there will be agricultural activities, the new company which will be taking, to take advantage of the skills. Those, for instance, Honorable Speaker, every cycle, every year, we witness drought. At the moment, I am also the Minister, the Speaker, in charge of special program. We are facing drought in Marsabit, in Mandera, in Turkana, in Wajir. And we are likely to see livestock dying in that corner of our country. National Youth Service, as one of the senators has said, it has fast land which we can grow livestock fodder. And we sell this livestock fodder in the markets. And we make money which we can utilize to train more and more young people. So I wanted to clarify that before going to the questions, Mr. Speaker. The first question from Senator Karen Nyamo on the marginalization. Mr. Speaker, Article 10 of our Constitution, which talks about the national values and principles of governance, it is very clear that the protection of marginalized communities in the Republic of Kenya we have to ensure, the government has to ensure it follows the letter and the intent of Article 10 of our Constitution, which is protection of marginalized communities. And the marginalized communities are in Mukuru Kwanjenga, in Mathare, where there is fire outbreak. Mr. Speaker, you will find many young people, many families within Nairobi are marginalized in a serious way. And therefore, when it comes to implementation of the services which are offered, which will be offered by the new enterprise, and National Youth Service cannot take advantage of that money to enhance more training for the young people. Because we want to move, Mr. Speaker, from the 20,000 we are training at the moment, 18 to 20,000 we are training at the moment, to next year 40,000. And by the year 2027, we want to have reached 100,000 young people who will be training at National Youth Service. Mr. Speaker, we will take care, as a government, all the marginalized communities, both in urban areas and in the rural areas, because that is what our Constitution in Article 10 dictates. Number two, is National Youth Service independent body from training, as well as how do we take care of sustainability, Mr. Speaker. I have explained from opening remarks that National Youth Service will remain the body corporate the way it is at the moment, but will have a private company. I mean, a company, a limited company, which will have its own management, totally different from the management of National Youth Service as we know it. So the limited company will not be managed by the Commandant General, who is the CEO or the senior most person in National Youth Service at the moment. The limited company will be managed by a CEO who will be hired from the market in the most competitive way possible. The third question, Mr. Speaker, from the Senator of Tharaka Nithi County. Is it that Tharaka Nithi? No. I've not seen him here. Huh? Meru County, yes. Okay. Mr. Speaker, is a question on consolidation of youth activities. The concern is that we have many youth enterprises, or the government has different arms which are taking care of youth youth activities, the government. Yes, it is true, we have youth fund, we have National Youth Service, we have all these youth activities within the government. Yes, Mr. Speaker, the government is in a process of coming up with a policy direction to ensure that all the youth activities are consolidated and synergized, so that we can be able to get the maximum. We can be able to harness the potential of the Kenyan youth in the best possible way, instead of having many fragmented efforts from one direction to the other. But at the moment, Mr. Speaker, it's also important for me to mention that so far government is doing all what it can to align these activities to achieve different needs of young people, because young people of the Republic of Kenya have many different needs which are not homogeneous. For instance, we have young people who have not managed to transition to high school. Kenyan government is taking care of the young people who have not been able to transition to high school through different programs, through vocation training in our constituencies, in our ward, as well as through other youth initiatives like Kazi Mutaani, to ensure that they have meaningful activities and employment which they are doing in our communities. And also, Mr. Speaker, there is many young people who are going to work outside the country, and the Ministry of Youth, in partnership with the Ministry of Labour, they are working very well together through the Youth Fund to ensure that the tickets are paid, the facilitation is done for them to be able to work in other countries outside there. Mr. Speaker, the question from Senator the question is how much we how much the ministry uses to train young people in National Youth Service per year. It's quite a huge budget, Mr. Speaker. It's around 10 billion per year. And through this initiative of National Youth Service Enterprises Limited, we'll be able to raise 4 billion Kenya shilling every year once the commercialization is done. And this will cut the budget from Exchequer with almost 4 billion Kenya shilling every year. That is a huge leap if we are going to implement this in the most appropriate way. And Mr. Speaker, I'm committed as a minister to ensure it's going to be implemented with military precision so that we can take advantage of the market when these services are offered to